Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming tonight and being part of this. And thank you again, Earl and Dan, everyone that's organized this event. It's great for us to pay tribute to both John and Stan, who have put so much effort into the auto research group. I came from Moncton, New Brunswick, where I completed a bachelor's degree in physics. Like the others, I had interest in audio. However, mine was generally music and instruments and sound. I wanted to learn more about that, so when I started looking through graduate degrees, a lot of people were going into medical physics, most people that I actually graduated with. And then I stumbled upon Waterloo, and I sent an email to John, and I believe I filled out an application, and then we started talking, and he let me know that there were opportunities available, and I decided to go there. When I arrived, Ryan Matheson was there as well. We were both studying starting in 2007, September 2007, and we were not sure what our thesis projects would be on. The project that I had was based on some of the work that actually Rob Stevens was talking about with doing in situ measurements to determine absorption coefficients of surfaces. We wanted to go into any room and devise a measurement method that would allow us to tell us what the surface is doing acoustically, what type of absorption would we have from a given surface. We went back into literature and we started looking at some of the work Rob was doing with roadside barriers and building facades and so forth. And we also looked at some work by Massimo Garay, I believe his name was, and some other work going back into I believe the early 60s or late, early 70s with what they called the surface pressure method. And what we ended up doing was looking at a bunch of different methods that you could use in rooms and trying to figure out which one works and which don't. And there were a lot of issues with most of them. What we ended up finding in the end was we could bring a steel sheet into a room. It was about a 1.2 meter square, 1.2 by 1.2 meter sheet into a room that we'd put against a surface to act as a reference, and we'd take a measurement with a speaker, a microphone in that sheet, and then we'd take it away and we would take another measurement at the surface. And you would have to be careful doing this because you're moving the speaker around, you're moving the microphone around, you're removing the sheet, and you want to put it back in the same location in the room because of all the reflections and so forth. So we did that, and we did measurements on reflective surfaces, absorptive surfaces, office dividers, and also just regular walls that have paneling and wood on them. And we saw some interesting results. I think it's not the ideal method. Who wants to lug around this big steel sheet and a bunch of mounting hardware? But it was really interesting that you could actually take an idea like that and go into a room and make measurements. So I remember I would be there a lot of evenings when no one's around, and just going around into hallways and stairwells and different rooms and making a bunch of noise, and people walking by looking at me trying to figure out what the heck I was doing. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was very interesting work. Also having the opportunity to study with another student, like Ryan and I were working on two different projects that kind of overlapped in some respects, so that was very interesting, and got to learn a lot from him as well. So I guess that's the research that I did. I'd just say in general, from Stan and John, we had some wonderful discussions like everyone's been talking about this evening. Whenever you would go there for a meeting with Stan and John, you might be planning to spend an hour there, and then you're there for 2 hours because you're going off on tangents, you're talking about different things, you're finding things in the lab that Earl had on camera, and then they'd start explaining the nuts and bolts and the stories behind all the equipment. It was so fascinating, and I think all of us are just so fortunate to have experienced that, and we appreciate it very much. Anyway, I'd just like to thank both of you. I think maybe I should just say right now, I'm not working in audio. I work in the pulp and paper industry in electrical and instrumentation maintenance. But a lot of the principles I learned from Stan and John have carried forward. I mean, one big thing about audio and acoustics is just the fact that it's multifaceted with principles in physics and mathematics, signal processing, psychoacoustics, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. The list goes on. So I mean, it really teaches you that you can learn something in one discipline and it carries forward to other things. And that's something I'm going to carry with myself for forever. You know, it makes it easier to share experiences with other people and try and understand how things work. So appreciate it very much. Thank you guys.